playoff
That's
year.
why it'll be the Steelers that they lose to.
It might be. I know you're big on the Steelers, right?
I am. I am stunned that the Steelers have not gotten more credit this year. I don't get it. I don't know what else they have to do.
I'm holding my breath a little bit. They have a really
Craig's a
tough.
Steelers fan,
I'm a
so he's
Steelers
being
fan.
super careful.
This is a tough
I have a
4-game
thought.
stretch they're heading into. It's been pretty easy the last 4 weeks. Now they're Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals. Bengals? No, Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals. It's a tough stretch.
But they're
for them.
playing Christmas night too.
Yeah.
The Josh thing, the way you laid it out, really makes me think of Peyton Manning first half of the 2000s, where he had reached this point where he was the best regular season quarterback. He was the guy you would take first in fantasy,
Always.
all that stuff. But you never felt like he was actually going to win. And then they end up winning in 06, partly because the Pats choked away a 21-3 halftime lead.
in the dome.
In the
Marlon
dome.
Jackson interception sealed it, and it was like, holy shit, they beat Brady. And this is my test for the Chiefs right now. So we're picking away at all of them, and they barely win, and all their numbers are terrible, and the offense looks legitimately bad except for one drive every game. Let's say they get the 1 seed, they get the bye. The division round, you're watching on your couch, and the Chiefs lose to Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Houston or something like that. Are you surprised? Because I'm shocked. I'll fall off my chair if they lose in the divisional round, even as bad as they've been. That's my respect for them.
I agree completely. It's every
You'd
week.
be shocked?
I'd be shocked if the Chiefs lost. I was like, oh, if the Bills play the Chiefs again in the playoffs, this is what we see every year. The Bills beat Mahomes in the regular season. Mahomes beats Allen in the playoffs. It's the same thing every single year.
The problem for the Chiefs is sometimes you can pass the point of no return with weapons. Because, and I said this last time in the pod, like, this did happen to Brady a couple of times where, like, 06, he was awesome. And we just had nobody. We had Lawrence Maroney as starting running back and Rashae Caldwell and Jabbar Gaffney and Ben Watson. It was like, we just didn't have enough weapons. When we needed third downs, there was that one guy to get open. There wasn't that awesome running back. I don't think the Chiefs' weapons are that bad, but there's been some Brady seasons where he was better than the team. And I wonder with Mahomes this year, I thought he took a lot of hits on Sunday night.
Many.
It's so weird. I feel like last year was the year the Chiefs were supposed to lose, and then the criticisms would come. What did they go, 11-6? And it was like, this is what we were saying. You can't do this again. Not with these weapons.
Yeah, the Raiders killed them on Christmas.
Yes, it was
Killed
like a
them.
super weird
Or
year.
should they have lost and Allen missed that one throw to Diggs? There was one other play. Like, if you really watch that game closely, it was kind of amazing the Bills didn't win that game.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows what to do now that they come out of this weird 11-6 year where they shouldn't have won the Super Bowl, but they did. And now they're 12-1, and they've won 16 straight games that were one score.
Yeah.
It's the most improbable run. I mean, can you think of anything like this in the last 20, 30 years in the
it's
NFL?
nuts.
No, there were some weird Patriot years wondering like how we were doing it week after week. But this is different because they're almost adding this degree of difficulty to the wins. And I'm not a lucky person with football. I've never really bought into that because clearly they're good. Clearly, like the plays that he was making yesterday, especially in the last drive, that 3rd and 15 was crazy.
So cool.
Yeah.
Right? The 3rd and 7, he's going to get it. So that's its own skill. I thought what concerned me if I was them was the Chargers, I thought, were really physical with them in the second half in a way that I don't remember seeing with the Chiefs.
Yes.
Like you always felt like the Chiefs were going to lose. It was because they dropped a key 3rd down pass or something. I thought the Chargers were like pushing them back.
Without their best running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers are built like Michigan.
And without
They're
their best
awesome.
receiver.
No, definitely. I think the Chargers are going to win a playoff game. I like them still. I'm not jumping ship on the Chargers.
Yeah.
Without the best receiver, without the best running back, they play great defense.
So
I
they'll be
like
a
them.
6 seed, right?
Depends,
They'll be
yeah.
whatever behind Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So
But
6 seed would put them probably against either Buffalo or Pittsburgh.
yeah, and I don't like that match. I don't like the Chargers. But the distinction I think with the Chiefs' weapons, it's like I think there's having players that are just kind of average, but then there's having players who are just kind of average in the way they're playing, who are made guys. Like DeAndre Hopkins and Kelsey, even Juju,
Yeah.
those are guys who have been around, who've been in playoff games, who've won. Those are the guys who are like, oh shit, we turned on the division around. Kelsey had 9 catches and 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Like they've done it. It's not average players who just suck and have never done it. These guys are all a friend of ours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They can turn it on.
Well, that's
I think they'll win.
that's why I'm so cautious with the Chiefs because of the Kelsey keeping him in the garage with the tarp on thing.
Yeah.
Like they're just clearly doing that. Yeah, we didn't see him for 2 hours in the game yesterday. And in fantasy, like people are still paying for him in fantasy.
Yeah, he was still fringe first guy who went off the board in drafts. It was like him and Laporta.
But then you watch Bowers, although
Unbelievable.
Tampa was able to take him out a little yesterday, and Bowers is just like Gronk crossed with Kelsey, crossed with like a sports movie tight end.
Easily number
He's
one
open
next
all
year.
the times. He's just crushing everybody. And Kelsey could probably do that in January in round 2, but I don't think they're using that skill now. So I don't know. If I had to rank them, I honestly think Pittsburgh's the safest bet out of the 3 because of the defense.
More than Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they could beat Buffalo in Buffalo because they can get some explosive plays, but I think Buffalo has a better chance of beating KC. Because the thing with KC that I can't wrap, I feel like if you can get 24 and up on them points-wise, you're probably beating them, right? Buffalo beat them 30-21.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh's more likely to play the 18-16, 19-16 type Kansas City game, which is better for KC. So I do feel like there's some rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. I think Arthur Smith and Russ are really starting to work well, especially last week without Pickens, which I do think Tomlin held Pickens. I think Pickens could have played in that game, and I think they knew they had this gauntlet coming up. They held him against the Browns.
100% agree.
They were at home. I think that was a very smart move
They knew
by
they
Tomlin.
could beat Jameis.
There were more open guys in that game than there have been all season for Pittsburgh, so I do think Arthur Smith and Russ are really starting to gel. I just worry that in January, they're in Buffalo. They need to score 35 to beat the Bills. They're doing too high. They're taking off all the top-end stuff for Russ. You really got to rely on like Najee Harris having a good game running the ball. And then if it's not Pickens, it gets real thin real quick. Yeah. I'm a little worried. I almost wonder if like they could muck it up with the Chiefs and win a game like 1917. That's where I feel like.
Yeah, but Kyle knows the way to beat the Bills is what the Rams did yesterday. You're just
Blake
5-yard run,
out of nowhere.
4-yard run, 7-yard run, 7-yard pass, 3-yard run, 5-yard.
You had
You're
Stafford
just chipping away.
Block a punt. You get it like you get this big
you have that.
play.
Yeah, big defensive play.
And then Jesus Christ, Nakua and Cooper were just doing anything they wanted.
That's
They looked
the thing.
bad.
I mean, Stafford, Nakua, and Puka is like the highest degree of difficulty offense in the league. Like it is so hard, but they do it because they're so good. And I'm like, I will.
But what
worry
did
a
they
little
run
bit.
for? The running game, I thought, was the most interesting part of that. Because
They didn't-
Buffalo, I wouldn't say they're like a giant defense.
No, not really.
Feels
but
like you can push them backwards.
they thought that, okay, so Matt Milano's back now. Like he was their heart and soul of their defense.
Yep.
He's back there going to stop it. And Terrell Bernard's amazing in the middle. But like they did this Blake Corum thing that we haven't seen a lot of him this year. And then obviously Kyron. I have a little bit of a spicy take on the Bills-Rams thing. Is I actually think that loss was good for the Bills. And I'll tell you why. Like everybody was just on their nuts across the whole country because they did a lateral play and they won in the snow and they're the best team ever. They go across the country, they get their ass whipped a little bit. Now they play the Lions, which is one of the biggest games of the regular season. I think they need to have their shit humbled a little bit, just a little bit. They were such a darling for about 3 or 4 days, and then they weren't that good. And I think that get that loss out of the way now, maybe, and have a little bit of a wake-up call. I actually was not shocked that they lost that game because McVay is amazing. And when Kupp and Nakua are out there for the Rams this year, the Rams are 6-2. Like they're a very, very good team, and their defense is like super young. Super doesn't give a crap. I'll hit Josh Allen late, talk shit to him, don't care. Like the Rams are, if I had to pick a team that, holy shit, a team that's in the Super Bowl, I'd pick the Rams as like the holy shit team.
Your holy shit team.
My holy shit team is the Rams. Like that is a dark horse, Cinderella, all that. Like they have the quarterback. I think they have the best coach in football. And they have this crazy young defense who doesn't know that they're not supposed to be that good yet. They're my holy shit Super Bowl team.
I think the holy shit team has to be AFC.
Okay.
Just for me. But I like that pick. But I think
Like the Chargers would be a holy shit.
I just
AFC
think
team.
that Detroit Philly talent pedigree
It's good.
is going to be really, especially if you have to go into Detroit round 2, round 3 and try to take those guys. Whereas the AFC, I don't really love any team, and I feel the best about Pittsburgh. I certainly wouldn't feel like awesome about Russell Wilson winning 3 straight playoff games. You know,
Yeah, and if this is the year to go against
so
KC.
my holy shit playoff team would actually be the Chargers because
I'm with you on that.
they can block and they can chase the passer. And once we get into January, if you can just do those 2 things, make a couple plays, not turn the ball over and win a couple ugly games, that's what the Chiefs did last year. You know, I was really impressed by them yesterday. I think
The Chargers in a loss.
I thought they really handled the Chiefs defensive line. I was surprised. And like Herbert misses wide open touchdown, right?
Palmer, yeah.
He missed
Yeah.
another
Oh, yeah,
guy
that was
like
bad.
35 yards down the field. Their running backs are among the worst in the league without Dobbins.
Yeah.
Gus Edwards and Vidal. Like, come on.
They're overachieving this year. Like, it's impressive already what Harbaugh's done year one.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be kind of like, all right, we'll get our linemen, we build from the inside out, see what we got. We'll see what we have in Lad McConkey. He's already one of the better rookie wide receivers in the league.
You know what's funny? We talk about football all the time. And we always look for these angles on what makes a team special,
Yeah.
who's going to be the sleeper. This was the first year where I was like, all I care about are coaches and QBs.
Smart.
I did all my over-unders, and I was like, if you have a coach or a QB, I'm not even worried that the Chargers don't have receivers. I'm going over. I'm picking them to make the playoffs. They have Harbaugh and Herbert.
Right. Doesn't matter.
That should be enough.
Yes.
Whereas, like, flip side, I don't know, Vegas, I don't understand their quarterback situation at all. I don't know where we're getting them. I'm out. And I wonder sometimes, is football just that simple? Is it all about the QB and the coach, and the rest of it is like periphery?
Yeah, in retrospect, looking at Rodgers and Saleh, it's like not that I like Robert Saleh.
Were you big on them, Craig?
Yeah, I think
A lot of
everybody
people
was
were.
a little bit.
That was
right?
my big mistake. I had the Jets over Buffalo in the division. That was my biggest regret. But
Yeah, my big
Rodgers is washed. Like, he's, if you knew he was going to be the 41-year-old washed Rodgers, I wouldn't have picked that.
I know. My big thing in fantasy this year was like try to eliminate as much randomness as you can. Like only bet on things that you can depend on that you know are going to happen.
Coach and quarterback.
And then I just was completely blind.
Let's roll, baby. Good morning, one and all. Welcome in to the Week 15 edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame as the wise guys are ready to roll to give you all sorts of winners coming your way for this fine Sunday of football. Let's welcome in the boys, the red-hot cousin Sal, the very sharp-dressed Joe House, Raheem Palmer, live from Las Vegas. Sal, I mean, who's having a better week than you? It started a week ago. You stole Juan Soto from my beloved New York Yankees.
Yeah.
You keep winning wise wagers. Oregon's getting ready for the college football playoff, but the Cowboys stink. I got to preface that.
What?
Got to throw that in there.
They stink. Why? They're an underdog to the Panthers. That's not that big a deal. No, I'm very excited. I'm 12-2 with my wisest wagers. You know, JJ, I'm from New York. Between my wisest wager record and Cody Bellinger, we should share a parade. I don't know if that's in the works, but maybe they could figure that out. Congratulations to your Yankees.
Well, good for you on that. I appreciate it. We're now looking for Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. But hey, that's a story for a different day. Save that for New York House. I'd make the argument today is the best Sunday of NFL action we've had all season. I mean, just think about the doubleheader you're going to have at 4 o'clock, where you will have Steelers, Eagles going heads up with another potential Super Bowl preview with Buffalo and Detroit. House, I'm ready to go, baby.
Yeah, I'm a smidge disappointed we didn't get one of those games into a primetime window, but look, we're just going to chug ahead and eat all of this delicious menu that's in front of us, including apparently some pimento cheese from North Carolina. Don't ask me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from. Raheem, you're out in Las Vegas, so you're doing the show on West Coast time. I hope you're okay. Set the stage for me. What is the vibe, the mood for this weekend out in one of my favorite places in the world?
I mean, you know it's Las Vegas, Nevada, so we always turn up. We out here for the NBA Emirates Cup, and if you look at these games in the NBA, I mean, they're going under the total. They can't score at all. They're 8-2 to the under right now. So, I mean, the championship is on Tuesday, so maybe you take that under as well. But we're just having a good time. We're making bets, and hopefully we can cash some winners for you guys today.
Well, we want to be cashing a whole lot of winners here on this Sunday. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. It is the Week 15 time to wisen up. I'm changing up the order a little bit this week. I'm trying to get the juju going for a couple of the guys here on the set. Maybe we want to save the best for last. Just throwing it out there. Raheem, you're in Vegas. You're in reverse time, so I'm going to start with you. What do you have for us here in Week 15?
I'm going with houses. Washington Commanders -7.5. I typically don't like the 7.5, but I still love this game because they're taking on the New Orleans Saints, and Derek Carr is supposed to miss several weeks with a hand injury. And that's big because the last time that Derek Carr went out, Spencer Rattler started, and the Saints scored just 45 points in the 3 games. And 7 of those points came from Rashid Shaheed punt return, and they lost those games by 24, 23, and 18 points to the Bucks, Broncos, and Chargers. And now you take this backup quarterback and Spencer Rattler, and he had weapons before. He had Chris Olave. He had Rashid Shaheed. He had Taysom Hill. He doesn't have any of those guys. All of them are in the hospital right now. So I don't know how he's going to score points. You look at the Saints defense, 23rd in defensive DVOA, 31st against the rush. So Brian Robinson should be able to have a big day and put Jayden Daniels in easy spots on third down. I like the Washington Commanders. I think they take this team into the deep waters and drown them. If you want to get frisky, you can even sell some points because I think they're going to win this game by 14 points or more. Here's another caveat. The Commanders, they employed play action on 42% of their plays last week, while the Saints ranked 28th versus play action. So you're going to see a ton of play action today. Jayden Daniels and Brian Robinson, they're going to turn it up, and they're going to win this game and cover easily.
Raheem, I'm with you. I'd lay the number with Washington. I think we've seen the best of what you're going to get from this version of New Orleans Saints. Now Carr out for the year. Offense optional in New Orleans. Now, House, me and you are battling it out for third place. It's a pathetic battle. It's basically like the Jets and the Patriots going to battle, going to war this year in 2024. You, sir, with the one-game lead, are trying to get exotic for your best bet. You're laying some juice today. Is the juice going to be worth the squeeze?
It 100% is, JJ. It's the perfect time of year to get a little exotic. We're just trying to keep it simple. We're taking teams that are headed towards the playoffs going up against inferior teams. And I love coming right behind Raheem here. One of my teaser legs, Washington, from 7.5 down to 1.5. And it looks like the king of quarterback boudoir photography, Jake Haener, is going to get the start for the Saints, which is just magnificent. He's never started an NFL game, and his completion percentage in his mop-up duty is under 500. We have no idea of how the Saints are going to score any points. Alvin Kamara, they would like to run the ball with him. He missed practice this week due to illness. We have Marshawn Lattimore for Washington making his triumphant return in New Orleans. We can move past this because Dream already made a very compelling case for Washington. The other half of this teaser is Minnesota from 7 down to 1 at home against the Bears. The Bears are an absolute train wreck. They fired their head coach, which was supposed to give them a bump, and what it did was bump them right into the garbage can. They're completely disorganized. The defense was the worst performance of the year against San Francisco. The Vikings' third straight game on the road. They're bad on the road, 2-4 against the spread, and they don't cover. They're 27th in terms of that cover rate. The Bears at home have been great, a truck, 5-2 against the spread. We're just asking them to win by 1. They are still in the thick of number 1 seed for the NFC Conference. Still in the thick of number 1 in that NFC North division. So that's the teaser. Minnesota -1, Washington -1.5. Let's just get across the goal line, fellas.
Couple of favorites, teasing them down, -134. We wish you nothing but the best, Joe House. Now, for me, I'm batting in the third spot today. I'm trying to get myself going, and I'm heading out to Sal's neck of the woods. I'm going to Los Angeles, California, and I know there's been some hesitancy to going back to Chargers this week because of what the injury report looks like. Well, I know Justin Herbert is going to play. And to me, this game with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is very simple. It's a matter of what coach do I trust more, Todd Bowles or Jim Harbaugh. I am going to trust Jim Harbaugh 100 out of 100 in these particular spots. And I've seen physicality out of the Chargers all year with guys being out, with guys shuffling in and out. The Chargers are going to bully the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. I think McConkey at the end of the day is going to be able to give it a go. I think the Chargers are going to have success moving the football on Tampa Bay. I am going to lay the small number here. Bounce back spot for the Chargers, a game they desperately need. I'm not getting scared off by the injury report, fellas. Give me the Chargers to lay the small number against Tampa Bay to bounce back from a game they should have won. House and I were on the Chiefs last week. Kansas City again with that voodoo pulling out a game miraculously. Sooner or later, that voodoo's got to come to an end for the Chiefs. Well, this week, Chargers bounce back. We're laying 3. Now, Sal, I'm putting you in the cleanup spot. I don't know if you like the cleanup spot. You know, you've been thriving like Lindor in that leadoff spot all year. Maybe I'm making a mistake switching the batting order up, but hey, Producer Jack's orders. Don't blame me. Last but not least, you're red hot with these wise wagers, and you're laying a big number today.
I'll take the cleanup spot, JJ, because it makes sense. We're going from Harbaugh to Harbaugh. I think the brother, he's got a brother in the league for the Ravens, is going to do a good thing, laying the 16.5 against the Giants. And, Bill Simmons, we're on a text chain. He's like, can I tease this? Will this get under 16? Will this get to 14? So I can forget about it. They're going to blow them out. The New York Giants are on MetLife support, and the Ravens pull the plug this week. Ravens coming off a bye, coming off a loss. They really need to round into playoff shape. And what better time against the number 32 scoring offense? 32nd in the league, the Giants are. They average 14 points, less than 14 points a game. They have 6 touchdowns at home this year. 6. And then there's Tommy Cutlets starting. And Raheem said something last week. He said, dead is fried chicken. If fried chicken is dead, that means Cutlets is dead, and that means the Giants are too. Tommy DeVito, sorry. Big Lamar game, big Flowers and Andrews game. I don't care if Tucker misses, it won't matter. Baltimore beat Denver 41-10 about a month ago. This one's going to be even worse, guys. 41-9. Take Baltimore minus 16.5. Take them minus 23.5. Run the ladder. Do it. Escalate it all the way and get plus money. Ravens all day takes me to 13-2 on the year.
You can't make this number high enough. And normally I would just blindly bet the dog and say, hey, I'm getting 17, I'm getting 16. It's the NFL. Weird things happen. I've seen the New York Giants all year. They're the worst team in the NFL going. They lost their best defensive player. Their offense is an unmitigated disaster. They don't score at home. And oh, by the way, Baltimore off a bye. Desperately need the game. Get right spot for them. Sal, I think you're getting to 13-2 on the year. How about that for a record? Now, we had to bring some competition for you, Sal, because right now you are running away with our Wise Wager title. You're having a season for the ages. That said, we have a guest who has come on the show, and he's basically batting 1,000. I mean, Sal, so you got a little competition. I know he's not on every week. SHEIL KAPADIA, my main man from Philly, Ringer NFL, man of many talents. SHEIL, we need you to keep it going here with Sally Boy. What do you got for a guest pick this week?
What's up, wise guys? SHEIL KAPADIA here from the Ringer NFL show and the Ringers Philly special. I heard, Sal, you needed a little competition. The other guys aren't able to keep up. Well, I'm here, 4-0 on my best bets so far this season. I've got a good one for you today. A.J. Brown, over 5.5 receptions. This is plus odds. I'm giving you plus odds. Plus 108. Here's why I like it. Number one, this is the squeaky wheel gets the grease bet. You got to look for these throughout the course of the season. Wide receiver unhappy. What do the coach and the quarterback do? They get him the football the next week. So that's one. Number two, this Eagles defense, they're going to shut down this Steelers offense. So Eagles are going to have a lot of possessions, a lot of plays. They're going to target A.J. Brown early and often against this Steelers defense. So A.J. Brown, over 5.5 receptions. This one's going to cash. I'm going to 5-0.
I like it, SHEIL. Obviously, the dynamic in Philadelphia is that Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown have not been singing Kumbaya. So this might be the week. Hey, we're all aware of that. Let's start singing Kumbaya once again. Okay, House, SGP time. We're starting with you. Let's lead it off with a bang. What do we put together this week?
Yeah, I'm looking at the most potent passing offense in the NFL. We're going with the Cincinnati Bengals as the anchor. They're up against the deplorable Tennessee Titans. This one is over 26.5 total points for the Bengals. They've not scored less than 25 points in 5 straight weeks. They are motivated to get both Burrow and Chase as the top passer receiver combination across the goal line. Both those guys lead the league in a bunch of stats. That's a way to salvage their season. So Bengals on the money line, that's easy. Bengals over 26.5 total points, that's easy. We're looking at Jamar Chase over 6.5 total receptions. Same idea. Keep throwing the ball to the guy that leads the league in receptions. And then we're going a tiny bit just to add some flavor to this thing. Our guy Chiz, the tight end for Tennessee, over 13.5 longest reception. It's just one pass from Will Levis to Chiz. He catches it. He runs down the field. He could be a 7-yard pass. That's all I trust Will Levis with. And then we're across it with this thing. It pays plus 447 right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. That's an SGP to take to the holiday table, maybe.
Like the sound of that. And Cincinnati, if you can nail the side properly, great SGP team. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, one of the best offenses in the NFL. A shame that Cincinnati will not be playing football here in the month of January because they couldn't guard the Ringer Wise guys. Sal, let's go from one SGP to another. House involved with Bengals and Titans. What game are you getting involved with?
Yes, I'm sorry I'm not overly diverse in these first 15 minutes, but I'm staying with this game, the Ravens and Giants, and I'm going Ravens minus 9.5. Adjusted Flowers, 80-plus receiving yards. Lamar Jackson to score a touchdown. That's plus 922. I made my case for Baltimore. All right, if you're nervous taking them 16.5, here we go. If you think it's going to be 24-14, it's not. But take the Baltimore Ravens minus 9.5. You could adjust that. Don't be scared. It's easy. Zay Flowers, 80-plus receiving yards. I see a big one out of him. Like I said, this team's going to round into shape with 3 weeks left after this in the regular season. He's hit this in 5 of his last 8, and Lamar punches one in with his legs. He ran one in versus the Chargers a couple weeks ago. I feel like this is going to be a Josh Allen-esque game from last week. Maybe not 3 touchdown passes and 3 rushes, but something similar. This 3-legger, I'm not talking about Lamar, 3-leg parlay, plus 922, JJ. That's a winner.
Sal, heavily involved in the Raven-Giant dumpster fire that we might see out of MetLife Stadium. But hey, if it's one-sided and it's the way it should go, it could be another big day for our buddy. We got a lot more coming your way. Man's Best Bet will be a part of the proceedings where we have 2 guys on the left side of the screen who are red hot as far as giving out underdogs. We'll have Bill Simmons, who's going to be joining us after the noon hour, after the 9 a.m. window, depending on where you may be in the country. Simmons all over the Texans today, which, I mean, listen, I understand why. It doesn't necessarily sit well with me, but I did hear him with Joe House, so he's going to throw some more salt on my wounds. And the biggest Tua hater on the planet, by the way. And good for you, Joe House. He asked on the pod the other day, he goes, Tua good. And House, I'm proud of you. What did you say? Yes. Yes, he is. As long as he's indoors and as long as he's in South Florida, he's good.
That's right. That's all we need. We've got one of those today in Houston. I like that Dolphins offense to get cooking a little bit in this game, especially in the second half.
We do. Texans unbelievable in the first half, offensively challenged in the second half. Now, guys, I've seen a lot of them. They're starting to find their way on the streets. It's cold. They need food. They escape. Let's nail and sniff out our rat lines for Week 15. I'm going to start the proceedings, fellas, and I'm going to find the king of the rats, New York City. The Jets taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This game has rodent stay away written all over it. The Jets, as we know, have been one of the worst teams against the spread in the NFL this season. They continue to be overvalued again and again and again. But by the same token, are you really willing and able to go and line up middle seat Doug, a Jacksonville team that stinks, a Jacksonville team that couldn't guard anyone, and Mac Jones is the starting quarterback? This reeked of massive stay away. The Jets laying points, the Jags only getting a small number. It stinks to the high heavens. I want nothing to do with it. I'll get involved with this game a little bit later on in the show, not involving the point spread, but Jets, Jaguars. That's my rat line for Week 15. House, what are we sniffing out? What's our rat?
We're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs laying 4.5 points at Cleveland, and I hope you guys don't think I'm lazy. You just have to fade the Chiefs every week because the Chiefs never cover. I mean, if you wanted to give me the Chiefs minus 1.5, then maybe I'd consider it. But the Chiefs are now on 2 unbelievable streaks, 10-0 in one-score games, tying the record set by the Vikings back in 2022, and 0-7 against the spread over their last 7. They keep winning, but there are serious issues on this roster that at any moment can jump up and bite this Chiefs team. And we haven't seen it yet, but it's a week-to-week thing. Their secondary is abominable since Jalen Watson got hurt in Week 8. It is one of the 4 worst teams by EPA in terms of pass defense. And the left side of their offensive line is atrocious, and that's why we see Patrick Mahomes scrambling for his life relentlessly. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make a case and say to you, you should gamble on Jameis Winston, you should gamble on the Browns, But you can easily just look at your card as you build it out and stay away from this Chiefs-Browns game. No reason to lay 4.5 here.
Sal, your rat line features a team that is near and dear to your heart that's getting points in Carolina.
Well, this is a very sad day for me and for Raheem. We both root for the Cowboys, although he's in Vegas, so his sadness is tempered a little bit. He can go off and have some fun. But when I did guess the lines with Simmons on Sunday, I thought the Cowboys would be a favorite against the Panthers. No, they were a 1.5-point underdog. Guess what? They're a 2.5-point underdog now, which makes it the first time in 34 games that the Panthers are favored, and it's against my team, and I just don't think it makes sense. I really don't. Look, the boys have 5 wins. The Panthers have 3 wins. You know, I have to hear about how great the Panthers are since Bryce Young returned. Okay, they've lost 3 in a row. They're not that great. And you know what? They may be better than the Cowboys. That's the sad thing about this. Injuries all over the place. Diggs is out now. That's very sad. We may never see him again. Jerry's kids are in trouble. I don't know what this line should be, but I just know you shouldn't touch it at all. Sit back and don't enjoy it. A Texas-sized rat right there for you in Carolina, Dallas.
Raheem, from a numbers perspective, if Dallas would have pulled off that comeback against Cincinnati, which was very feasible before they botched the punt and gave us one of our worst beats of the season if you had the Cowboys plus the points, there's no way in the world this line is Carolina minus 2.5, right? There's no way.
Not at all. And if I look at my model today, and I have a model using priors and I have a model just using this year's numbers. My model using this year's numbers has Dallas -1. My model using priors has Cowboys -3.5. So I think this line is completely wrong. And I have to disagree with Sal. I don't even think it's a rat. I think you have to play the Cowboys.
Interesting.
Something to think about. Maybe
it's
that
still Cooper
will
Rush
come
back
up
there.
for man's best bet. I mean, I can't believe we're saying the Cowboys is man's best bet against the Panthers, but that's the world we're living in. Okay,
I
Raheem.
think the unfortunate thing is that the Panthers, they've covered 5 straight games.
Right.
And,
They have been. They've been a cover machine. But, Raheem, it's much different being a cover machine, getting all those points week in and week out, than it is when you're now all of a sudden laying points. So we'll see how that dynamic shifts. We need one more rat, and you're going back to the swamps in Jersey, Raheem.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I missed this week's production meeting, and had I've been at the production meeting, I would not have chosen this game because I am going against Sal's Wild's Wager, and you guys know how hot Sal is right now. But I think this is a wrap. Ravens -16.5 on the road against the Giants. I got to remind everybody, this is the NFL, and regardless of the strength of these teams, weird things happen. And I got to shout out Cleve TA for this, but laying 16 points on the road is very rare. And if you go back to 2000, only 17 teams have laid more than 14 points on the road, and they've only gone 9-8 against the spread. So that tells you that when you're laying points on the road in the NFL, particularly double digits, it's very tough to get to that number. And if I look at my model, I actually have this at 14. I know Tommy DeVito is starting. I know Dexter Lawrence is out. I know that offensive line is banged up. But still, for whatever reason, when you see these big numbers, weird things happen. I mean, like Lamar Jackson might go out there and throw a couple picks, or the Ravens might just win this game and try to get in and out like a robbery and just sit on the ball. So I want to stay away from this game. But Sal is so hot. Don't listen to me. Listen to him.
I mean, it is weird. This is a 5-loss team going on the road and laying like 2.5 touchdowns. It is a bizarre line. I'll give you that for sure. But I just think they beat them up.
We shall see. Now, we go from our rat to our OMG. I can't believe we're making this bet for week 15. And Sal, you are going with the game that I think would raise a whole lot of eyebrows considering who the underdog might be.
Yeah, I mean, not only am I going against Tomlin as an underdog, which does not prove to be a wise wager indeed. This is my OMG. I'm going to adjust it. The Eagles -9.5 at home over the Steelers. What's going on? Has A.J. Brown bad-mouthed me in the locker room? Has Big Dom threatened my family? No, none of those things. Not that I know of. But I feel like this is a letdown game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Philly wins this by double digits. plus 168 am I getting here? I know it's different rosters over the years, but this has been a tough spot for the Steelers. I think they're 0-9 against the spread last 9 games they've gone to the city of brotherly love across the state. We haven't seen Russ struggle at all this year. Is this really just going to be Russell Wilson just goes out there plus positive games every single week? I feel like the Eagles can punish him and makes us think twice about the Steelers and where they are in the realm of the playoffs and how far they can get in January. Russ struggles, by the way, especially without Pickens, which he may not get back until week 17. Hurts, Barkley continue to do their thing. I think they get behind early. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts make nice against a 23rd ranked pass defense. I have it 30-16, and I have it adjusted to 9.5 as my OMG.
Guys, can't believe I'm doing this because he's not exactly been in the circle of trust all season. I got this at plus 130 a few days ago. It is now down to plus 108 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I don't care. Go and bet Aaron Rodgers to have 2+ touchdown passes against the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, that Jaguar secondary stinks. And all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers found that chemistry with Garrett Wilson last week against Miami. Devontae Adams went and scored a touchdown. I'll take Aaron plus money, 2+ touchdowns. I know. Has it given you reasons to feel good? He will on this particular Sunday. House, what do you got?
I'm looking at this New York Giants Baltimore Ravens game. I can't believe how much airtime we've given to this dumpster fire.
Too much. No, I'm going to throw it in there. Too much. After you make this point, we are not bringing up this game the rest of the show.
But I'm parlaying this number. You just have to go with the Giants here. It's the 4th largest home underdog number this century, and I'm just going to grab the number and put it together with Tommy DeVito over a half touchdown. So Tommy DeVito's got to throw one. And here's the scenario. The Ravens are up 23. They should be up 30, but Justin Tucker's missed 2 field goals and an extra point, so they're up 23 with 3 minutes left. And Tommy DeVito finds Malik Neighbors to keep Malik Neighbors happy for one more year in New York. He doesn't beg to get out of there, and that's it. Plus 141 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's a parlay of plus 16.5 for the Giants and DeVito to throw a touchdown.
House, I'll book that. Just endorse your Spotify paycheck and send it my way.
I like it. I like it. Yes, take care of that. We'll do that in the break. And Malik Neighbors dreaming of Shedeur Sanders throwing him passes. I don't know if you guys saw that outside of Madison Square Garden. Raheem, last but not least, what do we have for our OMG bet?
Buffalo Bills, adjusted spread, minus 3.5 at the Lions, plus 190. I know the Lions are 12-1. Their only loss this season was against the Buccaneers by a final score of 20-16. But I think the Lions are starting to come down to earth a little bit. You look at their last 2 games against the Chicago Bears. They probably should have lost that game. They had a chance of losing against the Green Bay Packers. I think this Lions defense, with all of those injuries, they're really going to struggle to stop Josh Allen, who was on his MVP run. I mean, he put up 42 points last week against the Rams, and if it wasn't for a blocked punt, they might have won that game. So I think the Lions are in trouble right now, and with a total of 54.5, I want to play the long tails. I think whoever wins this game is probably going to win it by 6 or more points. So give me the Buffalo Bills, adjusted spread, minus 3.5. I'm laying points.
Raheem rolling with the soon-to-be NFL MVP, getting points in the game. Raheem going to play it a little differently, lay some points, and get him a much better number. We have so much more coming up on the Ringer Sunday pregame. We'll have Bill Simmons join us at around 12 o'clock. Looking forward to that. We will put together our family meal as we get ready for the holiday season with hopefully 4 winners coming your way. And a red-hot Joe House has had a simple formula for man's best bet as he's trying to hold off this guy who got a much-needed win with the Los Angeles Rams last week. I have a dog in store that is going to surprise a whole lot of people. House has a dog that isn't going to surprise a whole lot of people. All that is coming up right here, right after this.
All right, so there's 2 major things to unpack there.
Mm-hmm.
One is, how do I even know if I'll get a job in January? And then the other piece is, how do I know I want the job? So let's talk about the league dynamics, because I think that's such a big part of this. He had such a bad experience with the Crafts the last 5 to 7 years, really starting with the stuff you were writing about in the mid 2010s that I think, and I was one of them, a lot of the Patriot fans who had gone through Deflategate and Spygate, and then people were starting to write about the dissension between Kraft and Belichick and Brady, and all of us were like, fuck you, there's no dissension, we're fine. But then as the years pass, clearly there was. But I think the Krafts thing got so dysfunctional the last 5 years. And if you didn't believe it, you just had to watch the Apple Doc, which was one of the most insane pieces of sports content anyone's ever released.
Totally. And I think that, yeah, it's first of all, to go back to like the early part of the dynasty, like, you know, you and I talked about it when my Patriots book came out. I mean, those were hugely formative years because Belichick finally had the people, the quarterback in place to do what he had had in his mind for so long in terms of like being able to create an actual team. And, you know, that's where that ethos started. And I think that like he gets shut out. Then you have the dynasty comes out, which just, you know, really roundly dismisses his influence, you know, in that team's historic run. So start this season. He's got his media gigs, but every week he and a lot of the old Patriots assistants who are also out of work would do these Zooms, and they would go through every team, every game, every situation, these high-level conversations. And I think the subtext of it all is like, what teams and organizations sound good for us if the situation comes up.
Welcome back to the Ringer Sunday pregame right here on YouTube TV and FanDuel TV. Hey, football fans, the season is heating up, but prices for NFL Sunday Ticket are cooling down. That's right, you can sign up for the NFL Sunday Ticket and the YouTube TV bundle for only $209. Sign up and watch every game every Sunday for the rest of the season. Terms and embargoes apply. Let's welcome back to Wise Guys. We have Joe House, Raheem Palmer, Cousin Sal, JJ John Jastremski, as we break down what is an outstanding slate of games, and I promise you, you will not have any more commentary on the Ravens-Giant game, which has been way too prominently featured in this particular show. Bill Simmons is going to join us in about a half hour. We have our family meal and man's best bet still to come. You can leave us a comment, a question, a survey, do whatever you want. If you're watching on YouTube TV, if you're checking in on YouTube, we love to hear from you. We got a comment, House, somebody mentioning the idea that you are giving us the Warren Sharp-esque type of tease. So I guess you're aligned with your buddy today? I don't even know.
I mean, that should come as no surprise. He's my homie. He's my DMV buddy. We love Jimmy Seafood out in Baltimore. We had crabs together this year. Of course, we're going to be aligned and coming from the same place. This is a very simple exercise, taking these two teams down to under 2. Vikings and Washington both playing for playoff position. Of course, me and the Sharpie have mind meld. What do we, no surprise.
I'm just jealous of those crabs. A little Old Bay, cooked the proper way. Can't do it any better. Now, we have ourselves one hell of a race for man's best bet. Joe House is in the lead. I am right behind him. There's been a formula that has worked for Joe House. We'll see if that formula is going to work yet again. It's time to get barking, boys. It's man's best bet. Now, in case you're new to the show and you're figuring out, okay, what's man's best bet, you have to take an underdog, not just to go and cover the number. They got to win it outright. So I was given a whole lot of heat when I gave out like a plus 110 or a plus 115. That didn't actually go well for me a couple of weeks ago. But to me, if there's a plus and it fits the description, hey, go nuts, take it. I want winners. That's what it boils down to. I want a winner. Get it any which way you can. Joe House, you're in the lead. And the main reason you're in the lead for this competition is you have taken a particular team that's won a whole lot of games this year that has given you great value. You're doing it again here in Week 15 to the surprise of no one. Your man's best bet.
It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, going into Philadelphia. The Cousin Sal made a very nice case for how Philadelphia might go out and handle its business. But I'm here to tell everybody this disrespect that the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to garner week to week. They keep coming up as underdogs. I keep betting them, and they keep winning. I love this matchup against Philadelphia. Philadelphia has a 9-game win streak. Terrific. They have not played a top 15 defense in any of those 9 games. This defense that they're going to see in the Pittsburgh Steelers is unlike anything that they've encountered since last season. This pass rush now, they're healthy across the board. We've got Watt, we've got Highsmith, we've got Herbig, and I think that they are going to take the one dimension that the Eagles flourish in, which is that rushing game with Saquon, and take it away. Keep and then dare.
That's it. That's it. I see the graphic. I didn't even hear it today, but when you have a graphic that flashes "Keep your mouth shut, House," I have to acknowledge it. Listen, we know House loves his Steelers.
Jalen Hurts. Good luck.
Don't blame me. Don't kill the messenger. I only do a job here on this show. That's what I'm told to do, so I do what I do. Raheem, you stole my dog this week. I love it. I absolutely adore it. It's one of the most fascinating games of the week. What's your man's best bet?
All right, I got to say I'm angry because the last 2 weeks I should have won both of them. The Cardinals were up 6 in the fourth quarter, blew it. The Jets were up 3 in the fourth quarter, blew it. This week we're going to get there. Colts on the money line, plus 176. This is a must-win game. Their playoff chances increased to 56% with the win and to 7% with a loss. They're taking on this Broncos team, who I'm not impressed with. They beat the Falcons, Raiders, and Browns in the last 3 games, and they got outgained by the Raiders and Browns. And if Jameis Winston doesn't keep throwing pick sixes, they lose that game outright. Jameis Winston threw for almost 500 yards, and, Riley Moss is out. So that means Levi Wallace is out there. And if there's one thing that Anthony Richardson can do is he can throw the deep ball. He can throw the ball down the field. The Broncos have allowed the 9th highest completion percentage on downfield passes this season at 52%. So I expect Anthony Richardson to have some very explosive plays. I think this Broncos team is fraudulent. Give me the Colts on the money line. We are finally going to get off the hunt because the last 2 weeks, we should have won both of those games. It's time. I'm running y'all down. I promise you.
I love the Colts this week. I think it's a great spot for them. I know both teams are coming off a bye. I'm with you, Raheem. I think Denver, very, very fraudulent. Well coached. They've done a great job overachieving, but I think there's a reckoning coming with the schedule over the next few weeks. Now, Sal, I'm very surprised you're going to the well with this team. I know they were good to you a few weeks ago in a division game, but you're going back to the crummy Titans?
I'm looking at all these dogs, and yes, this is the ugliest. Yours isn't great either. Mine is the ugliest of the. It has no hair. It has like 6 too many teeth, and it's the Tennessee Titans right there. And I know they are rough to watch, but it's easy to circle the Bengals in all your pools, and everyone's excited about Burrow and Chase and the other Chase and Higgins. But first of all, the Bengals were lucky to win, let alone cover against the Cowboys. It's always something with them. And so now they're coming off a short week. They have to go to Music City there. Super suspect defense. Say what you will. Cincy, 29th best scoring defense. Shouldn't be giving points to anyone. So anyway, I'm taking the Titans to win. The Titans defense, I know House says this is fraudulent, but it is what it is. They've allowed 17 points a game over the last 4 in Nashville. It's been very good, and it's been very good all year. Lou Anarumo's defense, getting back to that, over 5.5 yards per play against the Dallas Cowboys, who, by the way, are an underdog to the Carolina Panthers this week. I don't know if we brought that up. Add to the mix that Brian Callahan, coaches last 5 years in Cincinnati. I think he's got something a little in store for this Bengals team. Upset city here, guys. 23-21. I'm going to take Tennessee.
Sal going with the Callahan against his former team narrative, fading Cincinnati after a short week. I just can't get behind the Titans. I get what you're doing. I just can't do it. Now, I think a lot of people watching this show are going to be stunned by this pick. They're going to say, JJ, you're going to fade the voodoo? You're going to fade the team that finds ways to win again and again and again? The answer to that question is yes. Yes, I am. You want to know why? I think the Kansas City Chiefs are ripe for the picking here. They can't block. You're going up against one of the premier defensive ends in all football in Myles Garrett. I don't like that. I see a Kansas City secondary that's gotten smoked over the last few weeks all of a sudden Jameis Winston and Jerry Jeudy has become a hot combination. Now, is there the fear factor of Jameis Winston doing me dirty at the end of this game? 100%. But when you continue to play with fire, sooner or later you're going to get burnt. I think this is a kitchen sink game for the Browns. I think this is the sort of game where the Browns can say, hey, we haven't had many moments this year. We had one on a Thursday night against the Steelers. Let's get one more before this season comes to a close. Nobody wants to do it. I'm going to do it. Let's go. Jameis. Cleveland outright. How about that, Kansas City? I'm taking the Brownies. Raheem, I can't believe I just did what I just did, but we'll see how it shakes out. Now I need an SGP out of you.
Okay, we're going to go with the Cardinals -6.5. We're going to go with Trey McBride, 60+ receiving yards. We're going to go with James Conner, over 74.5 rushing yards. And finally, we're going to go with the over 46.5. You look at the Cardinals. They took on the Seahawks and the Vikings the last 2 weeks. 2 top 10 defenses. Now they're getting a little bit of a reprieve because they're taking on the Patriots, who are 31st in defensive DVOA, 32nd against the pass. Now, Trey McBride, he leads the team in targets at 106. He leads the team in catches at 80. He leads the team in yards at 851. He's going over this in 7 out of 12 games and 4 straight. So we nailed those 2. Then we going with James Conner. The Patriots are 21st in rushing success rate, and they're allowing 125 rushing yards a game. And then I think this could be a high-scoring game because I think the Patriots are going to struggle to get stops, and they're going to find themselves in a negative game script and need to throw. That pays 802. That's my same game parlay.
Raheem, from my SGP, I'm going to the game of the day. I'm taking Buffalo and Detroit, and I'm keeping it real simple. We're going to 3-leg SGP. I like Detroit in this game. I think the game matters a lot more to them. We talk about that race for the NFC #1 seed, the division super tight with the Vikings and the Packers kind of hanging around, more so the Vikings because there's a game with Detroit that remains to be played. I just think Detroit at home, extra time to prepare, going to be ready for a Buffalo defense that got smoked by Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams a week ago. So I think it'll be a fun game. I'm taking Detroit laying 2.5. Dan Montgomery does nothing but score touchdowns. I mean, he scores a touchdown again and again and again, so we'll take him to find pay dirt. And I mentioned that Josh Allen is going to be the MVP. Josh Allen, 250+ yards, easy peasy. In a game that should be up and down, up and down, up and down. I expect him to have a big day. Not getting a crazy payout with this, but I'm only giving you a 3-legger. Lions, Montgomery, Allen, 250+ passing yards, little under 4-1. Let's bring it home to pay dirt. Now, we had, fellas, one of the NBA Ringer guys come on and give us an anytime touchdown winner. We're going to have a different Ringer NBA guy on who also has an anytime touchdown winner. I hope. Let's hear.
From the Ringer NBA here. Got a guest pick for you. Give me Rome Odunze with a tug against a Vikings secondary that is looking sleepy this year. It'll be a good NFC North divisional battle on Monday night this week. Wise guys, please advise.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it. Rolling with the Monday night game. Going with Rome Odunze to score a touchdown. We'll see how that works out. Now, gentlemen, it's the holiday season. That means the recipes have got to be top-notch. They got to be at their very best. Let's see if Week 15 is that for us. It's time for our family meal. Sal, we'll start with you. You're going with a team that's near and dear to my heart and a receiver that has started to come on over the last few weeks, but you're not going to buy him as a big winner potentially for Week 15.
Well, yes and no here. Yes, we're going to South Florida. We're going to make, grilled mahi-mahi as the dish. But notice, it's not toasted mahi-mahi because Tyreek Hill doesn't toast anyone. He doesn't get behind the secondary. His season is rounding into shape. He's had a very weird year, JJ. If you sit back and think about it. What was that, Week 1 against the Jaguars? He's arrested, then comes out like gangbusters, has a great game. Then nothing for a while. Tua goes out, and now, like I said, rounding into shape, doing okay. But that fly pattern isn't really there for that. It's not part of their offense. I don't know what the what do they call him? The DJ? Doesn't have it in the playbook anymore where he does the Z route anymore. So I'm going under 24.5 as Tyreek Hill's longest reception. What is this? greater than 28 in only 4 of 13 games this year, under 24.5 in 4 of the last 5. Houston second in the league defensively with 6 yards per pass, and that number drops to 5.5 at home. So sure, I can lose on a missed tackle or something like that, but I think they keep it pretty short with Tyreek Hill. Am I wrong about this? I like this minus 110 odds, but under 24.5.
Totally get where you're coming from. The big play has been taken away from the Miami Dolphins. A whole lot of 12, 13, 14 play drives, which means you're not getting those bombs down the field. And a couple of injuries for the Miami Dolphins on that offensive line that could be problematic for, dare I say, getting that deep ball. Raheem, what are you bringing to the party?
I'm bringing Texas style barbecue ribs to the party. We're going with Rico Dowdell. Over 81.5 rushing yards. I got to take that from House. I love how he pronounces that. But you look at the Panthers, they're 32nd in rushing DVOA, and they've allowed a league worst 170 rushing yards per game. Yes, 170. And over the last 8 games, they're allowing 186 rushing yards per game. You look at the rushing totals that they've given up. 124 to Saquon Barkley, 155 to Alvin Kamara, 152 to Bucky Irvin, Tyler Algier, 125. Tyrone Tracy, 103. So you look at Rico Dowdell, I mean, he's averaging 18 rushing attempts over his last 3 games with 86, 112, and 131 yards. He's going to go over this total. I think they're going to run him. I mean, he's going to eat. I mean, Zeke Elliott doesn't play anymore. He's the new Zeke for them, and he's going to eat today.
Speaking of eating, nobody loves to eat more than Joe House. See, House, you're not the only one who gets the graphic thrown his way, so I'm just throwing that out there.
I was done. They were late to the party.
Come on. They were a little late. House is never late to the party, and he's always ready to eat. What are you bringing to the family meal?
Yeah, I'm never late to the party, especially when pimento cheese is involved, although it's very weird to associate pimento cheese with a North Carolina orientation. We've got Adam Thielen over 52.5 receiving yards. He plays for the Carolina Panthers. Very quickly leads the NFL with target share, 17 catches on 21 targets after the last few weeks. He is Bryce Young's safety blanket. He's gone over 52.5 all of the games that he's played in since coming off of IR. But I tried to make a case for the Carolina barbecue. I don't see why we couldn't have a meal with 2 types of barbecue. They're radically different. Nobody thinks of pimento cheese and thinks of North Carolina. It's like saying that the Chicago deep dish pizza was invented in Iowa, so we gotta give it to Iowa. But we're rolling with Adam Thielen over 52.5. That's a winner.
I like the sound of that. I'll tell you, this House, I'm right there with you. Carolina barbecue, Carolina cheese. I don't think Belichick is dreaming about the cheese he's going to have at Chapel Hill unless he's going to some of those weird mixers that nobody wants to eat that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I'm in Carolina, I'm at Cookout.
Right. That's another one. Another top-notch experience.
Well, guys, now that you're making me hungry, I got to cap off this meal with a little dry-aged steak. And that would be Travis Kelce, who I think in Ohio, he's an Ohio boy, going to show up in a big way for Patrick Mahomes in this particular game. And I know I gave out Cleveland as an outright winner for man's best bet. Doesn't mean that Travis Kelce can't go and eat in a big way. I'm taking him at 50-plus receiving yards. I thought about getting involved in the anytime touchdown market. I said, nah, right now Mahomes is at a point where he's trying to find guys he can trust. Travis Kelce is one of those guys he can trust. Shaky offensive line, wants to get the ball out of his hands quick. Let's get the ball to Travis Kelce and let him go and have a day. 50-plus receiving yards. That is how we're going to cap out our family meal. Let's take a look.
JJ, you might love Travis Kelce more than Taylor does. I mean, didn't you have him last week for anytime touchdown or the week before?
I did, but listen, the narrative fits. Yeah, I didn't get the touchdown because the Chiefs' offense stinks, and they let me down on Sunday Night Football.
All right.
Let's go and get him from a yardage standpoint. You're right. How about this, Sal? If I can't bring Kelce 50-plus receiving yards home, I will not take Travis Kelce in a prop again the rest of the season.
With him?
Fair?
I feel like this is an emotional hedge because JJ took the Browns to win the game, but you're taking Kelce overs.
Because I think it's going to be an up and down game, Raheem. Of course. I do. Okay. I don't think there's going to be a low-scoring game with the Chiefs and the Browns. I think we'll have some points here. So 50-plus receiving yards doesn't necessarily mean Kansas City goes and wins the game.
Yeah, forget about not taking him the rest of the year. I think you should have to write a breakup song about Travis Kelce for us next Sunday right here and sing it.
You want me to put a poem together? All right, maybe we could consult Taylor and put something
honestly,
together. All right.
Forget that. I think JJ should have to, go to a Taylor Swift concert.
That's good too.
That's an easy one for me. Sign me up. As long as Sal's paying for the tickets with his Wise
that's the
Wager
problem.
profits.
That's the big problem.
If you do that, then I'm in. Sold. I'd go to Taylor anyway. I love Taylor Swift concerts. Can't get enough. All right, let's take a look at our family meal and what the boys put together for Week 15. Sal going the longest reception under 24.5 for Tyreek Hill. Rico Dottle. I'm not going to try to say it the way House tries to say it. Over 81.5 rushing yards. Adam Thielen. We're not feeling that cheese. Over 52.5 receiving yards. And I'm taking Travis Kelce over 50+ receiving yards. That family meal pays out a little over 10-1. So, gents, we go from our family meal to anytime touchdowns. We love our anytime touchdowns that you can find on the FanDuel Sportsbook page. House, I will start with you. The board is open. What were we looking at for an anytime?
This is going to feel like an overreaction to what we saw last week. I promise it's not. It's Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, plus money, plus 120. The playoffs are in view, so what we see is Josh Allen running more and finishing drives on his own. He has a rushing touchdown in 4 straight games, 6 total in that span. He has a rushing touchdown in 7 straight December games, because that is when it gets to be game-winning time. It goes back to the 2022 season. This game's going to have a playoff vibe. Allen getting it done with his own legs, calling his own number. I love it.
Never have a problem with an anytime Josh Allen touchdown, especially once we hit the month of December. Sal, what are we thinking?
Cortland Sutton. He and Bo Nix been hitting, connecting all year. He has 5 touchdowns, plus 135 for him to score today. He scores every other week. Kansas City, then he took a week off. Las Vegas took a week off. And now here we go. We're zagging. He's due. This is the time. Colts 26th against the pass. They've allowed 17 touchdown passes. Last month or so, Sutton's been a top 5 target guy in the NFL. I like him to hit pay dirt. I like this game a lot. I mean, I would be surprised. This is where we're going to learn more about any playoff team potentially than any. Bills, Lions, anything could really happen. I'll still probably have my same perspective of what's going to happen in January. But I really like this Colts Denver game, and I know Raheem does as well.
Raheem, for your anytime, you took something that was a part of my parlay. I like it. Who are we thinking?
David Montgomery. I mean, he scored in 10 out of 13 Lions games this year and 4 out of the last 5. And if you look at the total is 54.5. There's going to be touchdowns. And why not take the person who scores almost every week for the Lions? David Montgomery, anytime touchdown, minus 165.
Last but not least, a guy who knows how to find the end zone and cost a whole lot of people, or maybe made a whole lot of people money, depending on what you may have had in that Monday night Bengal Cowboys Simpsons extravaganza. I'm taking Jamar Chase, who has put up monstrous numbers and is still dreaming about a monstrous payday that is going to be coming his way at the end of the season, where, without a doubt, he will become the highest paid wide receiver in the sport. Joe Burrow loves Jamar Chase in the red zone. Jamar Chase, all I need him to do is score 1 touchdown, minus 135. Sold. Give me Jamar Chase and the Cincinnati Bengals to go and find pay dirt. So there's a lot of good stuff. As you see, I'm going to my read right now. Remember, FanDuel has bettors covered this NFL Sunday. Host of Profit Boost tokens to choose from, including the great Double Your Winnings boost. Make sure you opt in on FanDuel so you can apply the different boosts to your favorite bets throughout the day. And Sunday, there's a 25% SGP Plus Profit Boost token. It's valid for use on any game. And then Monday Night Football, both games, 25% live Profit Boost token and a 30% to catch a pass Profit Boost token. Okay, boys, let's take a look at who's in and who's out for Week 15 as we take a look at our big board as far as a status update is concerned. Here it is. DJ Humphries, the new tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is out. Will not give it a go. Breece Hall for the New York Jets. Back at running back. Sauce Gardner also back at corner for the Jets. Kenneth Walker out for the Seattle Seahawks. Ladd McConkey, this is a big one for my wager with the LA Chargers. A true game-time decision. And 2 things I want to point out in the Miami-Houston game. Teron Armstead and the right tackle, Kendall Lamb, both out for the Miami Dolphins. Problematic for Tua, who I think is going to be looking to get the ball out of his hands even quicker than normal. Okay, guys, let's take a look at our Wise Guys picks for Week 15. And I just want to show you the board and let everybody know point blank. We had a couple of family plays. They didn't go particularly well last week. Well, if you look on the board this week, there is not one individual game that the wise guys are aligned on. That is rather incredible when you think about it. Sal, I'm starting with you. You're the only one on the Miami Dolphins this week. Make the case.
That's the thing. That's why we're not aligned, because I went out of my way and took the bullet and took some bad teams. Now, your team is not a bad team, but I took the Dolphins to save us. I took the Saints to save us. I took the Broncos. That's okay. I took and then I took the Falcons. But I don't know, JJ. Why not? Look, offensive line issues is going to be a thing, of course. But what has Texans done that impresses you? Why shouldn't this be a one-score game? And why wouldn't you take the points at this juncture?
Well, because I didn't love what I saw from the Miami defense last week. That, to me, was problematic. And I'm very concerned about how they're going to match up on that offensive line. But you are right when it comes to the Houston Texans being a fraudulent team all year. And I don't think the market necessarily is willing to go and jump in on Houston. This line still on Sunday is locked in at a 2.5 number, which to me is rather telling. This could have been a rat line this week. I wanted no part of getting involved with Houston and Miami at 2.5. Raheem, you had to be the only one to take the Chiefs this week, huh? This the week they cover? This the week I'm miserable?
I mean, Jameis Winston, he throws more interceptable passes than just about any quarterback in the history of the league. And when you do that against the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they'll finally take advantage. I think it's time for them to cover it. I mean, this is an efficient marker. And at some point in time, they have to cover. I'm also the only one to take the Bills as well.
Wow, I'm seeing that. Yeah, Raheem is the only one on Buffalo this week. House, I knew you were going to be on the Lions. I'm right there with you. I knew you were going to be on Detroit.
Yeah, and it's just a coin flip game, and really at the end of the day, for me, I'll go ahead and lay the tiny bit of points with the coach that I think is superior. And we just watched Sean McDermott. We watched these two coaches, the last two games that they played. Coach McDermott, wrong decision-making down the stretch. The Dan Campbell, correct decision-making down the stretch, and two different outcomes. So that's it.
The one thing I will say about that game is that my motto actually likes the Lions. And, I mean, they make this line around 4. But I just think Josh Allen, the level that he's playing on right now, it's going to be very tough to fade him. And I think at some point those Lions injuries have to catch up with him.
Raheem, curiously, as I see House is the only one, stunningly, that ends up taking the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know he's on the Pittsburgh Steelers outright for Week 15. What does your model have that Steeler-Eagle game at? Because on the surface, that line seemed a little high.
I actually have it 5 exactly. So I think the market has it on point. And it feels like there's a battle going on. I'm seeing sharps on both sides. There's sharps on the Eagles, and then there's sharps on the Steelers. I mean, I think House... he's been playing these Steelers games well, and I think you have to trust him. Like, he's pretty much nailed every Steelers game this year. And you look at this is a prime rah-rah Mike Tomlin spot where they're getting points, and that's when you want to back them. So,
JJ, look at that late afternoon slate. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a football fan. I'm even interested in New England, Arizona, but you got Indy, Denver, Buffalo, Detroit, Tampa Bay, Chargers, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. What spectacular late afternoon.
And you nailed it earlier. It is a shame that we don't have one of those games on Monday night, because to me, we have 2 dud games on Monday night with Chicago and Minnesota, and with Atlanta taking on the Vegas Raiders. But Steelers, Eagles, Battle of Pennsylvania, Keystone State, you can make the case it's a potential Super Bowl preview. Detroit and Buffalo, you can make the same case. But honestly, Sal, the game that probably means the most is Denver and Indianapolis, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of this is for seeding, but I'm not sure what would have to happen in the Buffalo-Detroit game for me to be like, oh, wait, I'm off one of these teams. No, I think both of them are going to go deep into January. But that Colts-Denver game is intriguing on many different levels. Biggest game in Denver in a long time.
Well, Denver has that playoff
drought. Are y'all not excited about a possible Desmond Ridder revenge game?
Well, guess what? I don't know if you saw the pics right there. I'm on board with the possibility of a potential Desmond Ridder revenge game, Raheem. We got a lot more coming your way in this loaded edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. We'll put together the juicy ice cream sundae where we find some super long shots. They're going to be a ton of fun. Bill Simmons to come All that and more right here on YouTube TV.
I don't know whether I'm just like a Belichick junkie at this point or a Belichick apologist. I don't know. I just think I watched him do so many great things. I just really find it hard to believe he's going to go to college and not be good. And yet the track record says that he won't be good. So where do you stand?
My gut tells me he'll do pretty well there. Now, look, I don't know what that means. Does that mean they make the playoffs? I don't exactly know. But I think when you have a legend who still feels like he has something to prove and is really sharp, I think history usually lends itself pretty well to those guys. And I think that clearly this was a space that in 2024 really just started to appeal to him. And like from the people I've talked to closest to him, again, in September, when they started these meetings and they're going through all these games, I don't think that they were thinking like what college program might, come open that would be cool. It was really as the season went on and he became more intrigued with the college game that he asked these guys to look into some of these programs a little bit more. Well, what would it look like if we took my methodologies and tried to adapt them to this? How would that go? And, is the ability to knowing that I'll be able to win or lose on my own terms worth the risk of not interviewing or, taking
hoping
a job
that
before
Dallas
any
or
of these
Cincinnati.
NFL jobs. Before any of those jobs come open. And it was really kind of a resounding yes.
There was one thing that I read in some of the stuff that's been written about this already is with this college job, what he wants to do at North Carolina, I thought was fascinating, where he basically wants to turn it into this football factory that trains people to go to the NFL.
It's the final half hour of the Ringer Sunday pregame, getting you ready for Week 15 right here on YouTube TV. It's John Jastremski, Joe House, Cousin Sal, Raheem Palmer. Outstanding, and I mean outstanding slate of NFL football. You can get in touch with the show by leaving us a YouTube comment. And we got one from Andre, guys. This will be fun, Sal, because I have become a big topic of conversation lately on the Sunday Bill Simmons pod with you that we can find on, what do we find it on? YouTube now live,
you can't
Spotify,
find it.
all
It's
of these
sold out.
zany, insane platforms for the award-winning BS pod. I'm going to throw this one to you, Sal. What pick of mine will Simmons be mocking the most when he joins the show within the next 10 minutes? I think it's got to be Browns outright.
Oh, out of yours. Yeah, I think Browns. Yeah, Simmons gets mad because we take all these bad teams as underdogs for upsets, but that's why they're underdogs. There's not too many. House has got the cream of the crop with the Steelers, right? You don't usually get double-digit teams as underdogs, but other than that, we have to go off the board. Yeah, I think the Browns. Is that the one you're most worried about? Maybe you don't worry, JJ.
I'm not necessarily worried. I mean, when you give out the Browns and Jameis Winston to beat Patrick Mahomes, worries kind of got to go out the window with that house. So, that's kind of me saying, let's go, man. Putting our you-know-what on the table, and let's see what happens.
I'm not kidding. If you hadn't taken the Browns, I would have taken them this week. I think they're a tremendous matchup. The weather is garbage. It's going to be they're an average of 18 to 22 mile an hour winds the whole time. There's rain in the forecast, half an inch to or more. And the one thing that the Browns defense is susceptible to is explosives down the field. Well, good luck. I mean, that's the thing the Chiefs haven't been doing at all. They can't get the ball to Worthy because the left side of their line collapses every single time the ball is snapped. I really think that the Browns, Myles Garrett is going to eat every single thing that was in our family meal parlay, and then he's going to have this hot fudge sundae that we're putting together for dessert.
I like the sound of that. Raheem, I was thinking about this with you being in Las Vegas. Is it me, or do the lines on Sunday not move as much as they used to? I used to feel like when I would wake up on a Sunday morning, I'd see lines moving like crazy. I'm talking crazy line movement. I'm not talking about a half point here on a side or a point here or a half point here on a total. I'm talking about massive movement, Raheem. I feel like we don't get as much of it now in the final hour leading into kickoff. Am I hallucinating on this, or is that something you've noticed as well?
I think I've noticed it. I think we see more line movement during the week. I think, with legalization and sports betting opening up everywhere, there's different sharp groups and syndicate groups that are betting a lot earlier now, as opposed to just waiting until late in the week. And the one thing about late in the week, it takes a massive amount of money to move a number on Sunday. So I think that's why you're not seeing as much movement. But you definitely see the movement on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before Sunday.
Raheem, what time did your head hit that pillow last night or this morning?
I went to bed at around 2 a.m. and I woke up at 4.
Woke up
we
at
need
4.
my man a double shot of espresso, Sal.
Wow.
That's what I'd be having right now in
I don't
Vegas.
need
Give me the
coffee.
double shot,
I don't
baby.
need tea. I just naturally have a lot of
You don't need to wake up
energy.
at 4 either. Wow.
I wanted
Yeah,
to wake
listen,
up-
Raheem,
I
that's
honestly
all well
wanted
and
to wake
good.
up at 3
I
to
would
go to
be
the gym.
getting injected with caffeine if I were in your position out in the desert right now.
The gym in Vegas. Jesus. Okay. All right.
I
Listen, I
you-
like the gym in
y'all
Vegas.
gotta
You can't go and
understand.
run on the strip, so you got to hit the gym. I get it.
I used to
4 in
leave
the
the club. I used to leave the club and do road work and leave the club and lift weights. Like after I DJ'd a party.
You're a sick individual.
I
That's
love
all I'll
it.
say about that.
Is that a
That's
euphemism?
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Let's take a look at our wisest wagers. Sal trying to make it 13-2 on the year. Let me take a look at those right there. He's laying it with the Baltimore Ravens and the big number. Raheem and House are aligned in a way. Raheem is laying the number with the Washington Commanders. House going with a 2-team tease, trying to pull out all the stops with Washington -1.5, Minnesota at -1. And I am taking the Jim Harbaugh-led Los Angeles Chargers, the tougher Chargers, to go and take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm hopeful that McConkey's going to play. Herbert will give it a go. I like the Chargers laying the 3. All right, guys, let's put together our ice cream hot fudge sundae for Week 15, the monster long shot of all long shots. House, you love dessert. I'm starting with you, man. What do you got?
I'm going with Jaden Daniels at an alternate rushing total. Over 60 yards or more is like around plus 255 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. He's back. He's healthy, and he's coming off the bye. The Saints are 30th in the NFL in EPA against quarterback runs. Drew Lock ran for 59 yards against this team last week. Justin Herbert had 49. Bo Nix had 75. So I just think that this Washington offense, multivariate, they'll try and get the ball down the field. It only takes one big run to get to 60, a little 25-yarder, and then he'll have his 4 or 5 other scrambles for 8 to 10. We're across the line, plus 255, 260. That's a great number.
Neil Downs.
Raheem, you're going with the same game, different kind of play. What is it?
Yeah, I'm going with Brian Robinson, 100-plus rushing yards, plus 220. I spoke about this earlier. The Saints are 31st in rushing DVOA. They're allowing 5 yards per carry. I think this game could get out of hand, and I think Brian Robinson is going to get a ton of carries and run all over this team.
All right, so we got 2 props. Sal, you'll make it a third, and I think I'm going to like this one.
Yeah, JJ, if Simmons hates your Browns pick, which we could probably assume he does, he is going to despise my Jameis 3+ passing touchdowns at plus 420. Great number there. I like this a little better before our meteorologist, Hurricane House, came on and told me about the weather. But little secret, actually, that House let us in on earlier. Promise not to say anything, guys, but this Chiefs secondary, no bueno. Not lately, at least. House made a case for it just this past month. Bryce Young went for 260+. Aiden O'Connell went for 340. We saw Herbert miss some wide open guys last Sunday night. I mean, they really could have won that game by double digits. Jameis had 4 against the Broncos, 3 against the Ravens earlier in the year. Those are 2 playoff teams, we think. I think he rears back and he slings. They'll lose on a dumb missed extra point or some nonsense because the Chiefs always win like that. But 3+ touchdown passes pays plus 420 on FanDuel. Go get that hot fudge sundae right now.
You know what I
Guys,
would
you
love
went
to
with
know?
3 props. Oh, go ahead, Raheem.
I would love to know what a 3+ touchdowns from Jameis parlayed with 3 interceptions because
that's good.
That's totally in question.
They should have that.
We have to figure that out on our FanDuel calculator, and I'm right there with you, Raheem. It can happen with Jameis Winston. You guys went with 3 props. I'm going with a little emotional hedge, alt spread. When the Miami Dolphins play a good team, they usually lose and lose by margin. I'm going to take the Texans minus 9.5 here for our ice cream sundae. You're getting that at plus 255. That's what the Dolphins do. They're either going to win the game outright, they're going to lose by double digits. I don't like this matchup at all for Miami. I don't like the way they feel defensively. I don't like that both tackles are out. I'm going to lay it minus 9.5. I hope this one is wrong. By the way, our ice cream sundae pays an outrageous plus 19121. I know you like those numbers in Vegas, Raheem.
I love them. That's lottery numbers right there.
Speaking of lottery numbers, go play 19 and 33 for me on roulette. Go play a couple of hard sixes for me and a couple of yos on the craps table, and then get ready for NFL football. Enjoy Las Vegas. Enjoy the NBA Cup. I'll talk to you tomorrow, all right?
No doubt. Podfather, what's up?
We say goodbye to Raheem Palmer. And without further ado, we welcome in the man, the myth, the legend as we get ready for Week 15. It's Bill Simmons time. But before we do that, can't believe it's Week 15 already. The season's heating up, but prices are cooling down for the NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Sign up for only $209 the rest of the season. Watch every game every Sunday with game day features like multi-view and fantasy view included. Terms and embargoes apply. It's Bill Simmons time.
Wow.
He's ready to go. First question right out of the gate. Are you rocking the pajama pants?
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, if your answer to that question was yes, minus 180, you have a winner, Sal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, minus 1,800. I think you forgot a 0. Yeah, Simmons is ready. He's comfortable. It's early out here on the West Coast.
Listen, every week I'm wearing pajama pants. JJ's making a terrible pick on the show. I don't know what week it is anymore. The Browns. Get out of
Well,
here.
you know what? You're ganging up on me with Cleveland. I have full-fledged
Terrible.
support here from Sal and House on this one. So you're the odd man out
Congrats.
on this one, Simmons.
I'm happy to be the odd man out. No Njoku today, too.
Is he definitely out? I was going to ask
Yeah,
about
he's
that.
out.
He's definitely out.
Yeah. Cleveland's done. They're ready for the offseason.
They're bad.
They got one more moment in them. I'm telling you. They got one more. Kansas City is playing with fire every single one of these weeks. Sooner or later, they're going to lose a game here.
I am afraid of Sal's best bet. Sal's been on a great streak, and the funny thing with Sal is nobody enjoys being on a streak more than Sal, and then hoping it comes up in casual conversation with whoever he's talking to, whether it's the waiter at a restaurant, anybody. Just that he just loves talking about it. I'm worried about some of these teams that are heading into this stretch where they have the 3 games in less than 2 weeks, especially the Christmas teams. If there feels like there's a lot of Milton Berle potential. Like I look at the Ravens, they have 2 more games right after this game. How hard are they going to really care about, how many points to beat the Giants by? To me, that's like you go into Giants Stadium, please nobody get hurt. Let's do all the most basic crap we can possibly do and just try to get out of there with like a 7-point win.
Wow, what a motivator you would be. You would be a great head coach. Please, let's just try to win. If we could beat the Giants. This is the first of their 3 bad stretch.
I know, but it just
They're coming
feels
off
Milton
a bye.
Berlish to me. I think we've never seen anything like this stretch coming up with these play today, play Saturday, play Wednesday. We don't even really have a history. I know House is shaking his head. We don't really have a history of knowing how that's going to play out. So I'm kind of afraid of all of these teams. The one that I've probably changed my mind the most on since $1 Million Picks is I just feel like we've been backing the Steelers all the time, and now my guard is going up. I really like the under. I teased them with up to 11.5 with the under up to 49. I don't know how this game gets to 49 points, House. It just feels like looking at the Steelers without Pickens, how are they going to move the ball, throw the ball? They're going to need like pass interferences and, a couple explosive plays. Can they run the ball? Can they keep moving it? But I find it hard to believe there's going to be a lot of points in that game. So that's the one I've shifted a tiny bit on.
I understand your perspective on this, and I'm, fully aware that the Eagles could easily come in here. I mean, we're in the trenches, and one of these 2 trenches is going to have its way. I do think the under is a great call at this point. We're going to see Pittsburgh try and squeeze the life out of the game. They win this game, by running the football, by field control, by
Boring
executing.
game.
Right.
Yeah.
Chris
We're
Boswell.
aligned. I think
50,
you have the right
50,
side on
yeah,
this. Like,
right.
The what is it, plus 200 almost? Like, if you're going to play the Steelers,
Plus
just play 'em
210,
to
yeah.
win. Yeah, play them to win, maybe put it with the under and see how it goes. But, I mean, we are in 13-point teaser territory, JJ.
Yeah, we need to hear it. What's it going to be?
Another beautiful week. Well, there were a lot of options, obviously. A lot of ways to go. I love the under with the Chiefs and Steelers. You can take that what to like 52.
Eagles still.
No, or 56. I like the Chiefs +9, even if the Browns beat the Chiefs. Like are the Chiefs going to lose by 10 points to Jameis Winston? I don't see it. And then I think you have some other good options there where you could take the Texans all the way back. Like that, Seattle's probably my favorite because I think that line is so offensive.
Yeah, we haven't talked
Seattle
about that game. So that's interesting. We were split on it. I think Green Bay is better. You think Seattle is ascending. So you look at Seattle as a team that what they've done over the last few weeks, Billy, is sustainable?
I do. I actually think they're the best value right now because they've been like 3 teams this season, and the team that they've been the last 4 weeks, I think, is the team that they are. They're healthy on defense now. They can run the ball. I think Mike McDonald, he kind of knows what he has. And I was surprised when we did guess the lines on Sunday, Sal. I thought Seattle had a chance to be favored in that game. I think I was off by 4 points. So, you could take them to 15.5, take the Steelers to under 56, take the Chiefs to +9. And then the other one I was looking at was, this scares me, but the Falcons against Las Vegas up to +8.5. No Max Crosby. Who are the good guys on the Raiders?
Brock
Can
Bowers.
any of us name
I got nothing
3
after
guys?
that.
Yeah, it's Brock Bowers and a bunch of G Leaguers.
Your buddy Jacoby Myers. He's probably second best
Jacoby
player
Myers.
on the team.
Yeah, right. But I always felt like Max Crosby made them a little tease scary because, he tries so hard. But now it's like they don't have him. Like, who's going to be good?
I look at these 13-point teasers that Simmons presents to us every week. I'm like, why is he doing this? This is such a waste of time. And I could never find a loser in it. And they come in. The problem is you have to hit
I'm 8 of my last 9,
in a row.
Sal.
I know. It's ridiculous because, Atlanta +8.5 is stupid. Seattle +15.5. The only thing I'll say about that Seattle game is Green Bay, that probably should have been a rat line. You're right, Simmons. Green Bay being favored on the road. But Seattle isn't as good as home. Geno Smith especially isn't as good. I think 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions or something. He's kind of struggled. They've lost that 12th man advantage, I think. But the flip side is, what's Green Bay doing? Like, they're kind of locked into that 6th seed. How up for some of these games do they get?
And I feel the same way about Buffalo. I know it's Josh Allen, it's fun, it's great, but ultimately they're either the 2 seed or the 3 seed.
Right.
And that's what they are. Whereas Detroit has Minnesota breathing down their neck and real reasons to try to get the 1 seed, get a week off. The longer they're basically not playing a meaningful game, maybe they can get some of their defense back. So I gotta say, I gotta sound the alarm for week 15. Some of these bets look too easy, and we haven't had a stupid week yet. And I agree with House, that Minnesota-Washington looks super easy. But one of these games is going to be weird, and I can't tell which one. Somebody's going to, that New Orleans game, the case is, well,
so you're talking about the big favorites, right? When you mention one of these games that are weird, going a wacky way, you're talking about the big favorites?
Yeah, Cincy, Arizona.
There you go.
I don't think the Ravens will lose to the Giants, but that I'm prepared for anything in that game, but I just feel like one of these games is going to be off. This is, what did we always say, Sal? Week 15 or week 16 is the weird.
Yeah, it's
the
15.
weird
I
week.
think you're right. Yeah,
I think it's 15.
And you know what? To take it a step further, Chicago's junk, but we haven't seen that Monday night screw job, right? Last year it was JJ's teams. JJ's team against the Titans last year. 2 years ago, I think it was the Eagles against House's Washington team, right? We haven't seen one in 24 yet. That could be it.
Yeah, it's going to be somebody.
We watched Chicago come back, from 11 points down, with 2 minutes left, and they came back and pushed that game into overtime. Yeah, the first time they played. So it's a divisional matchup.
I saw what JJ was doing earlier with his high Texans, whatever you did.
The alternate spread, 9.5. I don't think it's crazy.
We all know you think Miami's going to win today.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I love that
I don't think they're going to win.
No.
No. I'd be more. listen, I'll be more than happy to be wrong. I don't like the spot for them. Both tackles are out. The defense got torched by Aaron Rodgers. The only thing that gives me hope is Houston's a little fraudulent. I don't think any of us are Houston guys this year, correct?
No, but there is a C.J. Stroud kind of due for a game. House and I, when we did middle, I really like the slate this week because I always love when there's like good teams that are 3 points or less. So like the Lions, the Texans, the Seahawks. I love that one. The Steelers under. There's a bunch of them I like, but the Texans line feels like a point too short to me because all the Jets have to do is kneel 3 times and kick a field goal, and they win last week. And if the Jets beat the Dolphins last week, which they absolutely should have, what is the line of that Texans game? It's at least Texans minus 3.5. So
3.5 probably.
Just by the
I think
Jets
the look
being
ahead was
idiots,
3.
you get an extra point in the game, and it's like the Miami didn't do anything.
JJ, you reported to us over text that you were shaking in your seat.
I get nervous when I go to these games. Yes,
shaking.
Yes. That's
You
right.
have a
I get
six-win
very
team.
nervous. I get a little anxious. I wanted to at least have another week of meaningful football, and I don't like losing to the Jets. I mean, I'm with Jet fans. The idea of Aaron Rodgers beating me would have been horrifying.
Instead, you lost 6 draft spots as it is.
Yeah, but I'm not ready to
gonna make
tank
the
at
playoffs
this
anyway.
point. No, what's the difference? Honestly, Sal, what's the difference between 10 and 15? Doesn't matter.
Oh.
JJ, why didn't you talk to Juan Soto? Why weren't you texting him? I don't understand. The Yankees and all their fans. Why didn't all the guy wanted was to know that people cared about him?
He wanted to
and
feel
nobody
that
cared.
family atmosphere that they have going on with. And I like Steve and Alex Cohen, but come on, man, family atmosphere, please.
That's right.
Please.
You wanted a family atmosphere.
We'll let
he
his
wanted a
family in the
giant
suite.
Yeah, he wanted a suite.
that's right.
He wanted some Diamond Club seats. He wanted some charter planes.
This is what Sal is factoring in his next ringer negotiation, by the way. He's taking notes as we
Charters
speak from
both
what Juan
ways.
Soto decided to do.
I'm good, man. As long as Bill's nice to my family, and he always is, that's all I care about. The Yankees crapped all over Soto's family, and they paid the price for it.
Hey, listen, if they didn't give Jeter a suite, they're not giving a suite to anybody. Sorry. Judge included. They didn't give Judge and his family a suite. Now all of a sudden this guy needs a suite? No. That's I'm with the Yankees on that.
I want to
Can I-
get away from baseball for. Oh, I didn't win.
Yeah, go,
interrupt the
House.
Podfather.
Do
Just
ya?
a very quick observation. I don't want to concede the number 1 seed in the AFC to the Chiefs just yet. If you look at what Buffalo has left, this game, I tried to talk myself into Buffalo. I really tried hard. I just can't get there with McDermott. He's so stupid at the end of games. But they have a regular schedule that they're playing out while the Chiefs are playing those 3 games in 10 days that BS mentioned. And their last game of the season is the Broncos, who are absolutely going to be playing for their playoff lives. I really like the stretch. Buffalo has this game against Detroit and then is on regular rest through the end of the season. And they finish their season with Patriots, Jets, Patriots.
They're not losing any of those games.
The 1 seed is
100%.
live, baby. The 1 seed is live.
Especially if the Browns pull off the upset.
Here's another thing. Netflix has KC versus Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Houston. Netflix has more money than God. They need both of those games to be good. So I'm just prepared for any scenario where both of those games actually mean something. But in Baltimore, Houston's going to mean something. But KC, Pittsburgh, they need Pittsburgh to be within a game of KC when that happens. Can I give you my Drake May same game parlay?
Yeah, I knew you have an SGP for this. I'm excited because I like the Patriots as well today. So please expound.
Yeah, it's a tough one for the Pats fans because we need to keep losing. I would love to get the 2nd or 3rd pick. I would love to be in a Travis Hunter power position spot where we could then trade back with some team that's super fired up for him, get a left tackle, get another pick. But we all love Drake May so much, it's impossible to root against him. So I'm in the Drake May has my heart. I'm rooting for Drake May. I can't root against the Pats. With that said, Pats adjusted to 4.5. Drake May 40-plus rushing yards, which he'll rip off in one play. He'll just run for 40 yards in one play. Drake May 200-plus yards passing. Drake May anytime touchdown scorer. So he only has 1 running touchdown this year, JJ. I looked it up. Josh Allen, who he's very Josh Allen-ish, even if he's maybe like 15 pounds lighter, but a lot of the same stuff. Josh Allen, 8 rushing touchdowns as a rookie. Drake May only has 1. Drake May's anytime touchdown score is always like plus 350, plus 375, 4-1. But anyway, you put all those together, it's almost 16-1 on FanDuel, plus 1588. Drake May, touchdown, 40 yards, throws for 200. Pats keep it close, lose by 4 or less, almost 16-1. I actually think that could hit.
I would take out the anytime touchdown. I think I'd like it that much more. Just asking a lot there. You know what I mean? You're asking a lot.
Josh Allen,
touchdown.
8 as a rookie. Drake May can't get 2?
Not sure. I know you've hated my picks all year. I actually think you might like my wise.
My big issue is they lose. I don't.
It's been a bad year. Listen, it happens. Aaron Rodgers is having a bad year. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are having a bad. It happens. You got to keep swinging.
Yeah.
Chargers though. Can I get you to bite laying 3 against Tampa?
I heard your case. House and I talked about him Thursday. It's a game that I had circled from the beginning of the week. The injuries really scare me with them. I don't like one-leg Herbert. We've seen one-leg Herbert. The good news for them is their offensive line's been awesome this year. I was reading a story this weekend about their left tackle and their right tackle, Slater and Alt, are basically the best guys in the league at their positions. I think Slater's given up 15 pressures in 13 games. Really insane. So maybe it's not going to matter that Herbert can't move around that much. The Tampa team, I don't get it all. I don't know. They feel like they've overachieved. So I really wanted to take the Chargers. I just can't get there. And with that said, I will absolutely be betting them at 1 o'clock PT when a couple of my bets lose and I'm chasing. So I'll by 1 o'clock, I'm there, JJ.
Okay, so you'll be with me at 1 o'clock.
Now, as soon as I lose a couple and I got to chase, and now I'm putting somebody with Minnesota, and I'll be in.
Denver, Indianapolis. I know we're talking Buffalo, Detroit. I know we're talking Pittsburgh, Philly. This game means everything to the Colts. They have a soft schedule the final 3 weeks of the year. If they beat Denver, they're in a great spot to make the playoffs. Denver has overachieved all year. Peyton's done a wonderful job with Knicks. I like the Colts. Raheem stole the dog from me this week. Full disclosure, I think the Colts can win this game. I missed it on $1 Million Picks. Did you guys get involved with Denver and Indy?
No, but only because I can't put money on Anthony Richardson, and I think House and I are aligned on that. And he's one of those I don't like going for or against him. He's just a complete stay away. So I thought that line was what? Sal, what do we think that line was, like a 1.5 too high?
Yeah, we went low on that, right, for sure. Yeah,
because it seems like they could just run the ball on Denver the whole game. We're really what Cleveland did to Denver really is, I can't get it out of my head how easily they move the ball up and down the field on them.
I'm just trying to think of when Denver's had a game this big at home, right? And it could work.
Peyton Manning was the quarterback, Sal. It's been a while.
It's been so many years, yeah. So I don't know, that could work against them.
They were threatening to make the playoffs last year. I mean, they were on a stretch where they almost made the playoffs.
And my buddy Gus, who's still on a Juan Soto high because the Mets got Juan Soto, he's been scared of this Colts game for like 3 weeks. He was so mad that the Pats blew the game to the Colts and that the Colts are lingering and are kind of hanging around. Because I think the Broncos fans know they're a little smoke and mirror-y. But here's how I would play it with the money line. I would stay away from the 4.5, and I would do the Broncos minus 220 because ultimately this is Anthony Richardson on the road. This is Sean Payton against Shane Steichen, who I have not been impressed by, especially at the end of games. That's Shane Steichen. Add him to the list of I can't believe you guys think this guy was a better coach than Bill Belichick. I would like to add him to that 11-person list. But, I'd probably play the Denver money line on that. I really think the Pats line's like 3 points too high.
I like the Pats today. It's way too many points. Kyler looks awful.
Yeah,
he looks awful at the end of these years.
Yeah, but I feel like they could really hang with them. So, JJ, do you feel like that Miami playoffs, like you're still, the Dolphin fans are super defensive about Tua? Like, do you still feel like
the Dolphin fans are down on you, man. And
that's fine.
I gave you some crap.
I'll be on the right side of history.
You might be. But when it's warm weather in a dome, Tua plays well, right, House?
That's it. Those are the circumstances.
That's it. It's got to be perfect, like, incubator conditions for my guy in Hawaii.
It's like my dog Murph. It's like he's a great dog. I love him. It's just he can't be around other dogs. But he's a great dog. He loves humans, but just don't bring another dog near him. That's Tua.
But Miami for the playoffs, listen, if they lose this game, Simmons, they're done. Because the tie
plus
for even
410, JJ. Plus 410. Grab it. Miami playoffs.
I don't.
Is it really plus 410?
Yep, the Dolphins make the playoffs.
I mean, that's not like out of control.
If they beat Houston, those odds will be cut in half, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I got to say, I looked at all my futures, which we did really well, it looks like, for the over-unders, futures,
Well, you
all
were
that
big
stuff.
on Detroit. That's a winner.
I have more Seattle bets than I realized. Like, I don't know why. I should be wearing like a Steve Largent jersey. I have Seattle everywhere. I have them to win the division, make the playoffs. I have their over 3 times somehow. I just bet it 3 different. I have the adjusted overs for them, and I should probably be more excited. But yeah, Detroit being the 1 seed is the big one for Sal and I. And I think House was in on that one too. But that was the one we need, I think, the most.
I just took them over and for the division. I wish I rode you guys with the 1 seed. I'm jealous.
I somehow have the Rams to make the playoffs. Yeah, I have a lot of good stuff in play. The Steelers have been the biggest one.
You didn't suffer any fools, Simmons. You did a good job. If you saw a shitty team, you bet the under, and I was like, no, the Browns are going to go over, and the Raiders too. You're like, nope, let's do it. Let's move on. We're taking under. You're taking under, and that was smart. I have to.
Yeah, I went next year. JJ, this year I went good coaches, and I shorted bad QBs and bad coaches. I'm just like, I'm out. Like, your QB is Deshaun Watson, I'm out. I'm going under.
The only one that you probably have regret on, and I know you have him in the wins pool, which is stunning, is the Jets. That's the only one.
That was the one I remember we talked about it. We did the over-under, like battling back and forth. I felt like there was one AFC East playoff team, and I was just going back and forth and back and forth. And then freaking Aaron Rodgers started getting that buzz with the Jets, and he looks great. And I got suckered in.
Schrager suckered you in. He sure
did not get suckered in, right?
No, I did. I got suckered
you did?
in. I have Jets exposure. The thing is, and this is a lesson for us next August, don't look at last year's defense numbers. They don't tell you anything about how the upcoming. The Browns effed us so hard.
Yeah.
There's too much. Yeah, exactly right. It's no stickiness with defenses. That the Jets' problem has been defense. You know, Rodgers has been exactly what we asked him to be. You know, middle of the road, mediocre. They can't really run the ball with their newfangled offensive line, but the defense is the reason that they suck so much.
Yep.
Yeah, my big regret on that, and I knew it, but there's just certain quarterbacks that are just a guaranteed 10 wins.
Josh Allen is now one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, we all felt like Josh Allen was one of those quarterbacks, but then there were all these red flags with all the dead money they had and transition year, and was McDermott going to get fired? And I'm just an auto pick for him for 10-plus wins, and you would have said Burrow was like that, but you know he's had a few injuries. That's a weird team.
Well, I mean, that defense is awful.
Defense
for Cincinnati.
is bad.
They are awful. I thought about taking them today, and I'm just like, nah, can't do it. Those are 2 games today. I was like very tempted to take the Jets, and I was very tempted to take the Bengals, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm
proud
Stay
of
away.
you, JJ. Some people say after 14 weeks, sometimes people learn which teams to stay away from.
Hey,
you know, when we get to mid-December.
If I can change, you can change, and everybody can change. Some parting thoughts before we say goodbye. What's your favorite bet at the board?
You know, I really like the Lions.
So dramatic.
It was dramatic. I agree, Sal.
My favorite is Seattle. I'm in on Seattle. I really feel like they're undervalued, and I think it's pretty rare. Usually the undervalued stuff happens around week 12, week 13. And I was looking back, that's usually when all of us seem to do really well, week 12, week 13. We have enough data. We have enough kind of sample size. You just have a real feel. But I think it's pretty rare to have a team that seems to be better than it is, or better than it's being treated by Vegas, by everybody. I think they're the best team in the NFC West. I think I forget who said this on the Ringer Gambling Show, but they're a little bit of a stealth NFC like long shot.
Raheem did. I think he's insane.
Title play. I don't think it's insane.
You think Seattle could go to the Super Bowl?
It's more. It says more about the other teams. You're talking about Detroit's defense is a mess. Philly's chemistry is bizarre. I don't know what to make of Green Bay. Minnesota feels like they've overachieved all year. So it's just weirder things have happened, in my opinion.
You'll get a bad Geno Smith game along the way. You want to tell me a playoff win? Sure. You're not getting 3 good Geno Smith games.
Well, maybe you get 2 and 1 stupid game. You know, House, do you agree or you disagree?
No, I agree. I think that if this version of the Seattle defense that finally got healthy and on the same page with McDonald is the defense, then they're like exactly in that time of the year where one unit shows itself, it reveals itself. We didn't know how dominant it was. If they come out and kick Green Bay's ass today and they really bottle up Jordan Love, the whole world's going to take notice and be there with Seattle.
Can I just say one more thing? With this matchup specifically, maybe neither team tries to show off. Maybe they don't show off too much because this is likely the first-round matchup, right? The 6 versus 3.
Oh, another
No, Seattle can't approach it that way. They can't approach it that way.
No,
you want to
the
tell me the
Rams are
Packers
winning.
can Seattle's got to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I just don't think you see any trickery or anything weird. But, yeah, no, Seattle, I think they're in the driver's seat the rest of the way. The Rams looked like crap Thursday. That game pissed me off.
JJ, explain this to me. Tampa is 17-1 to win the NFC title on FanDuel, and Seattle's 19-1.
That's outrageous.
That's what I mean by
See, I don't like Seattle to win the NFC. That number is completely wrong. Completely
I think 19
wrong.
to 1 is the best value of any to make the Super Bowl bet in either conference because I actually think it's conceivable. They're gonna have a home game in round 1, right? They'll be the 3 seed against the 6 seed, which is probably Green Bay. And then who knows? But 19 to 1 is amazing value. And if they win today, that's going to be 10 to 1, I think.
So you're hopping on that right now is what you're telling me.
I might already have some juice on it from before the season.
I was going to say,
I'm
I'm in a legalized New York FanDuel state, so if you want to, get that number on FanDuel, I can take care of it. You just let me know.
I'm so excited. I was in Denver last week, and where gambling is legal, which it should be legal in all 50
Everywhere,
states.
but yes.
And I already had a bunch of Hawks stuff because House and I saw this preseason game with the Hawks and just immediately went in. And I just put more Hawk stuff down.
They're tough, man. I saw them in person the other day. They bullied Brunson, man. They beat him up.
So I have double Hawk stuff, but it's so nice when you could just pop on the
This
old,
is why
FanDuel
California
app.
won't legalize because you have to bet the Hawks. What do they do? You have to save yourself from yourself.
Oh, and I don't think I didn't do some Lakers unders too, Sal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah, it was 44.5. It's
that's
where
where Simmons and I can finally be aligned on something, our disdain for the Lakers. There's not much, Bill, but there's that.
It's so good. It's one of my favorite things. And now it's it's everyone else's fault again. Now it's should they trade Austin Reeves? I'll trade Austin Reeves. That'll make everything better. He's one of your only guys under 25 that could play.
Well, before we do a full-fledged NBA pod, Bill, thank you for joining us here on this fine Sunday. For House, Cousin Sal, John Jastremski, we're signing off. Enjoy your football. Bill, when are you back? Right after Sunday night?
Probably in 2 weeks. And right now I actually have 4 guys working at my house trying to recreate the chalk outline of you on the sofa from round 1 last year.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
really
if
trying
the
to do
Dolphins
it.
are not in the playoffs, at least we won't have to recreate that this January.
It's going to be, it's almost like an art piece. It's actually, it's you, it's your face, all that stuff. Very excited about that.
I look forward to seeing it. Thank you, Simmons. All right, enjoy. Thanks for joining us here on the Ringer Sunday pregame. Be good, everybody.
Bye, fellas.
See ya. Good job.